If you want to buy these turbos, first check out the quality check video on these turbos. So I'll also link to the turbos so that you can buy them. I point out the major problems with the BMW n54 tdo4 19T turbo upgrades. Alright, these are the parts that came out of the turbo. These, all three, are going to have problems. This O-ring right here is too thin, so it's not sealing against the compressor housing. So the turbo is going to leak boost once you install them because of this O-ring being too small. So these are the parts that you need to correct the problem. I'll leave a link in the description box where you can buy these parts so you can correct it. Now, if your turbo has already failed, I would recommend that you just buy the entire rebuild kit. If you're buying the entire rebuild kit, this is what you get. You get all the O-rings. Now, this is just for one turbo. So you'd need 2 of these for both turbos. You get all the O-rings for the oil feed and the coolant and the oil drain. This little O-ring right here is like $6 a piece from BMW. These are like $1 a piece right here from ECS Tuning. To give you an idea what's here, these two are upgraded. They're larger in diameter, 14 millimeter, and even the back side is completely full on the surface. That's what makes it durable. The thrust bearing has two oil ports, and the pad on it is 14 millimeter. The rear seal, I'm eventually going to change that to staggered, but as of this time, it's not staggered. This is just a comparison to show you what a tdo3 bearing looks like in comparison to a tdo4. See, the holes are opposite, so one will work and one won't. Also, the diameter of this is smaller than the tdo4 too. If you had an RB turbo, then you need the tdo4 kit, so you basically need everything down from here. But if you had a Hexon model, you would need a tdo4 thrust bearing, but it would need to be drilled on the opposite side, on the right side, for it to work. So this listing that I'm leaving is specifically for the RB turbo and these Chinese 19T turbos, so you can repair them. This is the compressor O-ring as well. These two, I get people ask me what these are. These are clips that go inside the bearing housing that keep the bearings from falling inside of the center section. So they're on the opposite side of this bearing right here. See, that's just a different style clip that's in there. But that's what their purpose is. The little spiral clips that go down in there. This is the little hole here that the bearing sits on. And like I was saying, it's on the opposite side on a tdo3 bearing housing. Now I'm going to show you what's incorrect about these being supposed 19Ts. This compressor wheel is smaller than a 19T. A true 19T is 46 millimeter. This compressor wheel measures 44.9 millimeter, which is pretty close, if not the same thing as an 18T. And the turbine wheel is 41.5 millimeter, which is pretty close, or if not the same thing, to a tdo4L turbine. The tdo4HL is the biggest, but I don't think they'll fit inside these turbine housings because I don't think it's big enough to accept that turbine. The tdo4HL is 45.6 millimeter, so that's the biggest one. These would be completely awesome if they had the tdo4HL turbines, but they don't. But it's still a good upgrade. But if you're not looking to make over 600 horsepower, you probably don't need something this big anyway. But I'll link to the parts that you need to rebuild it or to correct new ones without having to rebuild it. So what you would do is you just change these parts out. And for tomorrow's video, I'm going to make a video on checking the balance after replacing these parts to see if it's necessary for you to go back and rebalance this after changing those parts.